Everyone, and welcome back. It's been a little while since I made my last video, so I figured I'd get you guys caught up on the happenings in my dojo. I really haven't been doing a whole lot in the way of the bench itself. After so much work, I mean, and I addressed my tools during the project. But it got to a point where I needed to do some sharpening and some tuning on my planes and chisels and so that's kind of what I've been doing. Other than taking a legit break, I needed to take a break from the bench. I'd been working on it for almost 2 months. Well, it was 2 months, more than 2 months. Right at about 2 months when I stopped working on it, because I had my realtor coming over, not my realtor, my landlord. So I had to, I didn't want him to, walk into wood chips everywhere, so I had to clean it all up and kind of stop production, so to speak, for that weekend. Plus, I had some other stuff going on that weekend. But it was good to take a break from the bench, and now I'm getting back into it. I'm not working on the bench tonight. It's Friday night, so I got all weekend to work on it. I have the whole weekend off, and so I've got. I'm not going to work on it the bench tonight, but figured I'd bring you guys along. I've restored, I don't know, I guess about a dozen hand planes now. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1, 2. So about 14, I guess, planes that I've restored from different levels of hideousness, neglect. It baffles me how people would be into hand planes, into hand tools, and just neglect their tools to a point where they look the way they do, all just full of rust. And I mean, if I would have got these hand planes brand spanking new and took care of them the way I do now, they would still look exactly the same as they did when I pulled them out of the original box, or close to it. Not granted, these planes, all of my hand planes are somewhere in the neighborhood of, I haven't dated all of them or anything, and I kind of have, but I haven't chronicled it or anything, so I don't know which ones date back to where off the top of my head. But I have one hand plane that's less than 60 years old. Put it that way. Most of my hand planes are super old, but not so old that they have no lateral adjustment. Just kind of give you a glance at the hand planes that I do have. It's I don't know, it's kind of a passion hobby. I love planes, so I don't know. I wouldn't even call it a passion or a hobby. I needed I needed the tools that I need to do woodworking with, using only hand tools. So I bought a full set. I say full set. I don't have a number 1 or number 2. I think those are ridiculous, quite frankly. And the only reason I have a number 3 is to kind of bridge the gap between a 4 and a block plane. Yeah, and my planes, I have a 3, a 4, I want a 4.5, so that'll probably be the next one. I think those you can get pretty cheap, relatively. Wow, this music's really loud. Hold on. And so I probably will be purchasing a 4.5, and a 4.5. If you didn't know, a 4.5 is just simply a little bit wider than a number 4. Same length, same characteristics of its action, if you will. Serves the same purpose, just a little bit wider. So I have 2 block planes. One's a little bit longer than the other. And every one of these that I have are all Stanleys. So nothing fancy. I mean, they're nice planes, don't get me wrong. But they're not like brand new $350 Lee Nielsen hand planes. I mean, that'd be great and all, but yeah, that's a little pricey even for me right now anyway. Maybe if one day in retirement my woodworking takes off and I have more money than I know what to do with, which I'm not expecting to happen, but if it did happen, yeah, I'd get me a full set of some nice Lee Nielsens. All brand new, full set, but I don't know. I got a feeling that's not going to happen anytime in the very near future. Yeah, so I've got 2 block planes, one longer than the other. I have a number 3, a number 4. I have 2 number 5s only because the first number 5 that I have, that's the one that's it's not super old. You can tell that it's not super old strictly by, I mean, at first glance, just by knowing that it has the kidney lever cap hole, where all the other planes are going to have a like keyhole style lever cap. So that's an easy way to tell right off the bat whether it's, for me anyways, when I go to buy, I won't buy anything that has a kidney shaped lever cap. Every single plane that I've dealt with from Stanley that's that new just doesn't compare to my older ones. I don't know. I don't know. It could be the blade. It could. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. I love my older planes better than I do the newer Stanleys. I've tried to Lee Nielsen. Those are freaking nice, but like I said, those are mint. Those are they're expensive, but well worth it if that's what you do for a living. So whatever. So I do have 2 number 5s. I'm actually going to finish restoring this one and probably sell it on eBay. It's not the greatest plane, and I bought it. Obviously, I bought it used, and it's seen its better days. I've cleaned it up. I've sharpened it. It's a fully functioning working plane, and it's solid. Nothing wrong. The bed, the sole, everything. There's no major. There's some ding marks, but not no major pitting or anything that would affect the functionality of the plane. It's a user plane. I do like the newer big ass knobs they put on here, because on a number 5 jack, I don't know, my fingers are just so right there at that part where I can't. I'm on the handle all the way, and I can't reach this stupid thing. And I got pretty decent sized hands too, so I don't know. But I'm going to finish cleaning this one up and sell it on eBay. And then I have a number 6, a number 7, and a number 8. And that's kind of what I was bringing you guys along for today. Was most of my planes have all been gone through. There's a few of them, including the one I just showed you, that still need to have their soles flattened. So that's what I'm bringing you along for today, to show you how I do it. There's many other ways to do it, but this is how I do it. So let's get to it. Simply, all I use is, I don't know how great that's going to focus. It looks like crap from my angle up here, but hopefully it turns out all right. I wish I had a nice thicker piece of granite, but this is a piece of granite or marble. I think it's granite. Anyways, it's a surfaced stone, which is, I've already checked it. It's flat. I can't even get a 1/1000th feeler gauge underneath my rule anywhere. So I know it's flat, and it's sitting on pretty flat surface. It's sitting on the bench, which has been roughed out, and I have it just kind of blocked up right here with some pieces of wood that are lower than this. Now this is, well, let's see, I think it's right about 3.5 inches, 4 inches. So it's just under 4 inches. Sorry, just over 4 inches. And 37 inches, so just over 3 feet long. I wanted it something this size, and I just happened to find this at a Habitat for Humanity in the back or outside, where they had all their tile and everything sitting in the rain, and I saw this piece and I was like, score, I got to get it home and use it. It cost me, I think, $2.50. I mean, you can't beat that, right? So I got this. I have something that's nice and flat, and the size I was looking for was, it's perfect for the size of paper, sandpaper that I'm going to be using, but it needed to fit my largest plane, right? So the largest plane that I have is a number 8, which is 24 inches long, and side to side on the sole is just under 3¼ inches. That's a big damn plane. And so it had to fit side to side and lengthwise for my, at least a good portion of my stroke. Now, I've already started surfacing this plane. I just can't tell. And you can see there I've started surfacing it, and all my planes are flat bottom. I don't have any corrugated planes. I don't like them. They do nothing but cause problems from the ones that I've messed with in the past. And I need to do this again but what I do, just to kind of show you guys, is I take a Sharpie and I just start marking. Some people mark pretty evenly across. I just start going. I don't care, as long as I can see where I have and haven't taken it down. That's all that matters to me. So you get it all marked up, and if you wanted, I guess you could run a couple lines down this way. Now I do this kind of systematically when I start out, just so I know what I'm dealing with when I start. But so, and I've also started on the sides. So this is kind of, you don't need to mark it. You can see where you're taking it off. But on the bottom, it's a little bit more difficult. So at this point, you can buy this stuff on eBay. I've got a couple of different kinds because I was testing out different sandpapers. But so this stuff, I'm starting out with 150 grit. And this stuff is Porter cable sandpaper, and I don't know a whole lot about power tools because I don't use them, but that's what my Porter cable is. What I have for my cordless drill and my cordless few cordless tools that I do have. But I found this, it just happened to be Porter cable. Not that I'm a fan of Porter cable really at all anymore. But it happened to be just the right size, right? So this, I thought it said 4 inch, but I already know it's bigger than 4 inch. So 4.5 inches. So it's 4.5 inches wide, where most of the stuff that you're going to get is going to be like 2 3/4 wide. Yeah, 2 3/4 wide, which, as you can tell, it's not wide enough for my plane, and it doesn't cover the whole surface of the block. So I have to like double up like 2 pieces on there, and it's a lot of waste, frankly. And I can do 1 piece and then split another piece in half, and then put the other half of that on the next set that I do, so I don't waste so much. And this stuff is made by 3M. I haven't tried it yet, so that'll be interesting. What I've been using for a long time is this stuff called Gold Reserve. This is the last grit that I use. This is 400 grit. You really don't even need to go that fine. 220 is what I was using as my finishing for the longest time. Because this, I mean, once it wears down, then, you know, you're dealing with the worn down 220, which is probably closer to 400 or 500 grit anyway. So anyway, let's get to it. And the stuff that I do have is typically sticky back stuff. I get it in the rolls and sticky back. Obviously, it's perfect for this application. This stuff, the Gold Reserve, it wears out fast. It's like really fast. When you're trying to take metal, it's not bad with wood. So good stuff. And this is what I use on my sanding blocks. And I have 2 blocks. I have the little one you see me use all the time. And then I picked up this guy. I have not used it yet, so we'll get a review on this guy. It's almost like a really super dense foam. I thought it was hard at first, but it was so light. I don't know, but fits perfect size for the red 3M tape. So that's really promising. But I wanted something larger if I needed to sand something a little bit larger, and this is a foot long, so. So yeah. This is a sticky back as well, and and the red tape seems to be sticky. This is like sticky, but it's not tacky. It's like, I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to peel something off of it, but it feels like it wants to stick. Regardless, this is a surface stone, and you just wipe it down. Just roll this out, and you don't need to cut more than you have on the surface plate. Because the rest of it would be a waste. But this stuff is, although it's not sticky, like sticky. It works great with just a little bit of pressure. Once you put the pressure on it from the plane, it doesn't move anywhere. As long as you have it blocked up. Like right now, I have it blocked up, so it's not going anywhere. But once you put, that made a liar out of me. I had it wet the first time I did it. I put a little bit of Windex. So maybe that was what the ticket that did it. But I just started using this stuff. It wasn't a whole lot. I didn't put a whole lot on. That's why I didn't think it really mattered. But maybe it tackies it up just a hair. And probably water would do just fine. Yeah, it seems to be what did the trick. So just a little bit of liquid or something on there to make it kind of tacky up enough to hold it on there. And then I'm just going back and forth, trying and use as much of the surface as I can. And if you go off a little bit, you know, say what you will, but I'm not going to sit here and go like this. And I can go all the way back to here before I go off, and all the way up to there. So I've got a pretty good range here. Now what I'm not doing is bearing down on this thing, because you're not going to bear down on it when you plane, right? So my theory is I'm going to put the exact same pressure, just as if I was planing this piece of granite or with the sandpaper on it. That's what the force I'm going to apply to the wood, so why not apply it and make it, you know, flat to the way that I plane, to my style, if you will. Now, two things that are, or one thing that's, I'll go one thing at a time. One thing that's important is you want to have the tension on your blade, or on your iron, on your plane iron. So you just want to set it up just like you normally would, and then, you know, make sure that your lever cap is tight and all that stuff, and then just withdraw your iron so that you're not cutting your iron or sanding your iron while you're sanding the bottom of your plane. But because when you put that tension on, it's going to draw that metal. If I was to release the tension right now, it would sand away right there where it drew up from the bottom as it, you know, as you tighten down the lever cap. But I don't bear down on it at all. I'm just simply planing it. I mean, it's like my hand, I grab it because that's how I just grab it, but as long as you just, you know, put something to just keep it down, because that's all you're doing when you're playing. Well, you can put slight pressure, but nothing more than you would put when you're playing. You know, when you're planing a piece of wood that you're working. Now, this is only my second time using. Literally, this is the second piece I've cut off of this Porter cable roll. So you can see I've gone through a couple of different. The Porter cable roll I'm trying out. I got this 3M tape. I've been using Gold Reserve. I actually also have this stuff, just because they didn't have any other stuff that was any good. But this also is 4.5-inch tape, or sandpaper, 150 grit, but it's like flexible, like, right? So it's not paper. It's like, I don't know, sandplastic. It's kind of neat and interesting, and it lasts longer because this is the last little bit of a whole roll I used already. But you can do that. You can use this wet or dry. I got this at Lowe's, and You can use it wet or dry, and if you use it wet, you just take it to your sink and you wash the shavings out of it and stick it back on and go back to town. Or if you do it dry, you can just take it outside and kind of shake it and brush it off, and then stick it back on and reuse it. It does wear down, but about 1/10 of the speed of regular sandpaper. But regular sandpaper has its own merits regarding removal of metal. That takes it off more slowly. But it lasts a whole lot longer. And it's reusable. I guess that's part of why it lasts longer, but you get the point. So I'm just literally just taking it down. Just working it. I have probably on this plane alone put, I don't know, close to a couple thousand strokes. And you can see I'm still not there yet. I'm not even, this is the first time I've looked at it, as you know, since I put it, the new marks on it. But look at how great the rest of it looks. I mean, it's great. So once the whole bottom is like that, once the whole sole is like this, then I'll stop. And then it'll be ready. And I need I need this plane to be as flat as humanly possible to be a proper effective tool. Especially since I'm going to be using it to flatten a bench. So how am I going to flatten a bench if my bench plane sole is not flat? This will be what the last thing that touches my bench, and with regards to joining the top of this bench. So yeah, I'm trying to get it nice and flat. So I'm going to keep working this, and hopefully I get it done tonight, and I can work on some other tools. I'll see how bad off. I still have to do my six, and one of my number 5s, the one that's not all that pretty, the newer one. So I won't do that before I flatten the top. So tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, we'll be flattening the top, and I'll bring you guys along for that. And I'll also show you how I sharpen my plane irons and my chisels. And something else that's kind of exciting coming up. I don't know if I'll be able to video it, but I have a quick show and tell still, I guess. I have a nice set of Stanley Sweetheart. There's a Buck Brothers thrown in there for one of the chisels that is this is the chisel that is in my my poor man's router. So I took the handle off of it and used it because I have one more right here, but it's just the chisel itself. I don't have a handle on it right now because it broke, snapped right off at the top of the socket. So I don't know what they're made out of. I think they're made out of these handles. I don't think they're beech or birch or any other kind of I don't know what the wood is. One guy did share with me what he thinks it is. I'll have to maybe do some research into it, but regardless, looking at the handle, that especially where it snapped, I think they're crap handles. Am I going to throw them away? No, I'm not going to throw them away, but do I feel I need to make some better handles? Yes, I do. I am going to make some handles that I like. I'm going to turn my own handles. I'm going to make a whole set. It'll be a matching set. And I haven't decided yet. I'm either going to make them out of Osage orange, or they'll at least all be a matching set regarding the shape of the chisel handle. I've thought about, I think I'm going to make this whole 8-piece set, I'm going to make them out of the same wood. I'm looking at a couple of different woods. I do have some. I think I have some beech over here. I have some oak, which I've been told I'll have to ferrule the oak at the top to keep it from splitting. I have some Santos rosewood. This wasn't cheap. Well, you can look at it. 18 bucks. I didn't pay 18 bucks for it. I talked them down a little bit, but not much. These hardwoods, man, they're kind of set in stone, you know, at the hardwood store. But I got that. I can get 2 chisels out of that. 2 chisel handles out of that. And I got the beech, and I have the oak. I have some maple here. Basically just my firewood that I'm gonna test out some of that. I have a box that I've been kind of collecting over the last, I don't know, year or so of chisels, just kind of finding good deals on eBay, onesie twosies here and there, and I've been kind of just gently placing them in this box, and all of them have no handles, or they're just crap handles. This is a perfect example. This is a Fulton chisel, paring chisel that I got, which isn't really all that sexy, but it's long for paring, and I love it because it's perfect for a small paring chisel inside of a like a mortise, inside of like a, you know, a 6, like what I was doing, you know, a timber, 6x6 timber. But this handle actually isn't in the worst shape, but you can see it's kind of starting to get jacked up right here, and it's tiny, but it's a pretty thin chisel. It's only like a 1/2-inch chisel. So and this chisel is not in great condition at all. I mean, it's, quite frankly, it's in terrible condition. It's got some pitting up in here and such. You can see it on the side too a little bit better. The only surface I care about really is the moneymaker right here and the bottom. And it's good and flat up by the tip, and it's good and flat pretty for the most part down here, so that's what I care about. Being able to pair with it. I'll probably try to salvage this. I don't know if I'm going to get much of the pitting, but it does what I need it to do already, so I'll just keep it sharp and make a new handle maybe for it. But like I said, I have this box that is full of, I don't know, I probably got 2 or 3 dozen chisels that I'm going to just play around with some handles. I'm going to make some long, stanky handles, and for some of them. Some of my chisels are pretty big. Long, so I want to have longer chisel handles, and I like longer chisel handles, and I like these are some I got to return these to work. These are not. I took these home. I think I've shared it in another video. I took these home to sharpen them, which I've started already. But I took these home to sharpen them and bring them back to the ship to show them what a sharp chisel can do, what how to properly sharpen their chisels and what a sharp chisel can do when you apply it. Because these kids these days, they're like, oh, machines. Right? So you got a planer. This is a planer. Right? To me, this is a planer. And these guys are like, if you can't plug it in, you know, it's like, whatever, man. I want to show you how to use some real tools. So, I'm going to bring in some of my tools and show these young bucks how it's done. Old school. They already think I'm old. They're going to think I'm seriously old when I show them what some old school tools can really do. But it's quite impressive if you've ever dealt with hand tools before, and good, sharp hand tools that are ready for work. You know that they're pretty impressive, even to someone that does nothing but, I mean, you can't get the kind of surface finish you can get with these. You can't get that on machine tools. But I'm going to take some of these in. So I'm going to return these. But what I do, I need to get these back to work, finish sharpening the other two, and get them back to work. Show them young bucks what it's all about. But what I do like about these is they got these big honking handles on them. You know, compared to one of my Sweetheart chisels, these Buck Brother chisel handles are just enormous. I mean, they dwarf them. Now, am I going to put a handle this large on it? Yes, I am. It's going to be a little bit larger round than these. I'm going to play around a little bit with maybe a hexagonal, not for this set. This set will be a classic shape. I will be putting leather butts on them. I think that's a super classy way to go. I love it, and it takes some of that shock out and just kind of puts shock, the center of percussion from your mallet, right through the center of the tool where it needs to be. And I think that's important. But anyway, it's going to be a little bit larger than this, but this set will be about 6. It's going to be, you'll see about 6 inches of handle. It'll actually be, obviously, it'll be about 6.5 to 6 3/4 long, because I've got, you know, the piece that sticks inside the socket. What else? But I'll show you how I sharpen chisels too. I sharpen chisels 2 different ways. Kind of depends on what the shape of the chisel or the plane blade is in. But I'll get to that in the next in another video. For now, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off and get back to work on this plane. Video is already almost 39 minutes long, so it's time for me to get back to work. Friends and family, I love you. Everybody else, stick around. It's going to be a